I got my John Wayne cup because a man's got to do what a man's got to do. Now, I tell you one thing, pretty lady. All right, guys, we're live. We got a couple of vendors with us today that have won contracts. We're going to let them tell their story and ask them some questions. And let's get started with Patrick. You want to get started, Patrick? Go first. Baptism by fire. But eventually you're going to win one. And if you stick with me, I'm going to teach you everything I know. I won't give up on you unless you give up on me. So don't give up on me.
So we want to move on to somebody else now?
Yeah, well, Patrick, the big thing I want people to take away from this is that Patrick submitted a lot of bids, worked really hard, made a lot of phone calls, reached out to me a lot, let me help him, joined the training, made some mistakes, but eventually you'll win one. So thanks for joining us today, Patrick. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I do remember the first one I ever got, I read the email like 19 times and then sent it to you and asked you if that means I won the bid. Because I wanted to make sure that hadn't been drinking that morning and not knowing it. And, I think, I hate to sound like this, you almost get emotional because you put so much time. I mean, I put a year into this.
Mm-hmm.
I put 6 or 8 months in before I came to you guys. And still, it's taken us this long. And then still, when you finally get the yes, it's almost emotional because you put so much into it.
Yeah, it's like it's too good to be true.
Yeah, I mean, or you just have the relief. You have that deep breath saying, finally, I've got my first yes.
Yeah.
That's what it comes to. So.
I love it when people come to me and they're stressed out and they're saying, John Wayne, I think this is a big mistake, or I feel like I got scammed because I spent all this money and I haven't gotten any return. But then they finally win one and they're like, all right, man, thank you. I'm sorry. I was a jerk. And I know it's.
Did I say that?
No.
I didn't ever apologize.
It's all good. All right. Well, Patrick, thanks for joining us today. We're going to move on.
Unless anybody has any questions, I'll file out.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Patrick? Or we're going to go on to the next vendor who won their contract, hear their story. Who would like to be next?
The gentleman from Mississippi will yield to the floor, so go ahead.
There you go. Who would like to be next? Anyone? Bueller?
Who's Gail with? Is she a contract winner?
Yeah, Gail, you want to go next?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I actually had a little easier time getting. I won my first bid.
Nice.
I wrote. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it was a little divine intervention, but my problem is I can't find the bid, and what we do is such a finite service that it's just finding them to bid on them is where the challenge is. And even poor Tessa, I've just about driven her completely nuts because we just can't find them to bid on them. But the first one I bid on, I just took it. I just took the bid line by line by line and responded to every single line on that bid. And maybe it wasn't. I suspect maybe it was. It was probably underbid, so it's probably why I got it. But yeah, and like I said, my problem is I can't find them to bid on them. The only time I find them is when they come up awarded, and that just drives me crazy because I just a competitor of mine just got awarded a VA contract for $94,000, and I thought I didn't see this thing even bid on it. So that's my problem is I can't find them.
I want you to, when you find those in the future, send them to me. And let me see if I can figure out.
I have.
Okay. Good,
I have.
Good. All right.
Yeah, I've sent them to you.
All right.
Yeah, I can't find them. So that's my problem. I think, and I've got another now, in that respect too, I've got the Air Force I just got a call from one of the contracting offices to have me bid on it, so that helped a little bit, when they call you. But it doesn't. That's nice. But boy, if you can't find them until after they're awarded, that makes me crazy, because I think where in the heck was this thing? Because I look every day. I look on these sites, so I don't know where to find them.
When you do find them after they're awarded, note down the purchasing agent, their name and email and phone number, because you definitely want to follow up with them in the future. Also, like you're doing, continue to send them to me so we can see how they were posted, or if they were posted, or we can modify your searches to work better, whatever the case.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, I know when someone else wins a contract, technically they're your competition, but it doesn't hurt to reach out to them and see if you can sell to them as a supplier, be a subcontractor.
Well, as a matter of fact, I do some subcontracting with it's a company called the Halick Group, and I've got probably 5 consults booked with them this next year. But I don't like working for them because
Sure.
I don't think they do a good enough job. I hate to say that publicly because probably God knows who's on the phone, but I would prefer not to have to do that. I do a lot of subcontracting, and I would rather not do that. I'd rather, have my own, but yeah, and also too, the work I do, there aren't that many, agencies out there that do this work. And so, when I see who comes up that has been awarded, I know exactly who they are, what they are, who the personnel are, who the consultants are going to be, and I probably worked with some of them in a prior life. So it's kind of a funny community.
So what, where are you at now? You're going to want to do more contracts as a prime, and try and do less.
God, I at some point in time, here's what I'd like to do. I would like to do. I do some private hospitals too. I'd like to be GSA certified. I'd like to grow this business to as much as I can grow it, and do all of the VA if possible, and if they're going to do sole source, I certainly would like to be in the competition to do that. So yeah, there's lots of room for growth here.
Well, that's my job, so to help you find these things and win more as a prime, do less as a sub, and keep you busy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna work on that.
I've got. Okay. Well, that's my story.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it.
Yeah, I wrote my first bid, and I got my first bid. Now it's just a matter of getting more.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
I don't think so. Is there any questions for me, or
anybody got any questions?
What is your business? We had a question in general from a YouTube viewer. He asked, "How did you finance your first deal?" I think he was asking Patrick, but that can be a general question that you could answer.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, here's what I do. I work with healthcare facilities, primarily acute care hospitals, but I do some ambulatory work and behavioral health. I do consultations to help hospitals get ready for their accreditation surveys. So, in other words, if someone comes in, like if you have if you have a governmental agency, or if you have some type of agency that's coming in to do a quality certification for a company, my job is to get them ready for that survey so they pass.
Gotcha. You prep them.
And so that's it. And I do only healthcare.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and how did I fund it? I've got money put away. So, like this consult coming up, I'm doing it the week of Thanksgiving, but for a hospital. But I'll pay my subcontractors that go with me, because they're all 1099 employees, And I just battle through wide area workflow until I figure out how this thing is going to be.
Okay,
So
cool.
that's
Thanks,
how I
Gail.
do
I
it.
appreciate that answer. And then it looks like he was actually asking for Patrick to answer that question. So if Patrick wants to unmute himself and answer that.
I can tell you if Patrick's not still with us, the company that he works with, they've got resources. They have no problem financing contracts.
Okay. So we want to move on to another caller on the GoToMeeting, and another person who's won a contract recently.
Sure. Gail, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing
Sure.
your story.
Okay.
And we'll get back into training. You and I'll find some more stuff to bid on, and I'll help you win some more contracts. Just a matter of time.
Okay. All right.
We got anybody else that's joined us, wants to share their story?
Yeah, this is Randy.
Randy,
What company is Randy with?
what company are you with? BioLine?
Bioline, yeah. So we are a manufacturer of biodegradable and compostable body bags, human remains pouches. So it's a fairly specialized market. The market for that is fairly low. But in order to kind of break into government work, we took bids, or we were bidding on projects that were outside that bioplastic field, and just sort of standard body bags for use in disaster relief and, you know, some of the tactical agencies. So we came on with USFCR back in the summer of 2017, and I'm just going to be really transparent here. Didn't have a really good track record with the agent we were working with to start. We got transferred, or John took us over in the spring of 18, and really just, I'm going to blow John's horn here, but really watched the videos, joined the conference calls, listened a lot. John helped us with some proposals back and forth on email, several telephone calls. And so, like Gail, we bid on 2 contracts and won both of them. One
Nice.
was smaller, it was about $5,000, and then the other one was $100,000. And so we still haven't really peddled our product, our biodegradable product, but we're in the process of fulfilling the second contract right now. And that's gone on a little bit longer than we anticipated, especially because we were fulfilling the contract under the Buy America Act. And so all of our materials we were committed to buying in the U.S., all of our manufacturing we set up in the U.S. And, you know, we had competitors who were wanting to import from China and then stamp the product with their own markings, but we were not going to do that. And so it's been a bit of a challenge, and it's taken us longer, even beyond the deadline. So I have a question for John, but that's our story. I came from funeral service, so I owned my own company for 20 years, and then I sold that funeral company, and then got into bioplastics during the time when I was in funeral service, and through natural burial. That was kind of the path that I had. That's why I got into biodegradable body bags. But 2 questions I have for John, and then I'll kind of be quiet here. But one is with regard to getting our biodegradable products through and getting use on those. Our marketing strategy is sort of a me too. Body bag's a body bag, but ours just happens to be biodegradable and compostable. And we thought that was kind of a sexy thing, but it's been difficult to penetrate the government, especially because we don't have a sponsor or an MSN.
Right.
So that's one thing. How do we do that? And then the number 2 is, you know, because we've gone a little bit over our deadline, we have kept contact with our contracting agent, but is there any damage control once we do finally fulfill the order? Is there any damage control that we can do so that we can keep winning bids and we don't get a bad, you know, rap, you know, going forward?
The best thing to do at this point is just be honest with the purchasing agent, fulfill the contract, do the best you can, and ask them, is there anything else we can do to go above and beyond? This is our second contract. We obviously want to get good scores and do a good job. So anything we can do to go above and beyond your expectations, let me know. Just communicate with them and be honest.
Yeah, sure. Okay. That's what we've been doing. We were talking about shipping schedules, and I've been, telling about the Buy America. We're trying to, be consistent with our materials. So that's, like I told you earlier, that's the best we can do.
Excellent.
And then what about an NSN, John?
NSN, you're going to have a sponsor. And typically that would be, a purchasing agent that's buying from you. So it's something you and I can definitely work on.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Yeah. Getting an NSN number assigned to that product would be a big step.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely. We really need it because we would be the only one who could supply that product actually because of the way it's configured and constructed. Yeah.
Excellent. Hey, keep it up. Keep getting in the training. Yeah. I'm here for you. Don't give up on me. You know the drill.
Yeah, thanks, John. We will not give up on you.
Awesome.
Chat from an Angelique.
We got a question in the chat.
Angelique said she was awarded a $5 million contract for a 5-year extended period, and it's her first bid ever.
Jesus.
Wow.
Someone, won a $5 million?
$5 million.
$5 million contract. Very first bid she submitted.
I don't know if that's the one that we were talking about just a minute ago. One of the.
What's the name?
The company's name is Car Coding Technologies Incorporated.
Car Coding. All right. If you have nothing else to contribute, Randy, we're going to go on to the next vendor.
No, thanks, John. Appreciate it.
No problem, brother. I'm here for you. Anybody else like to share their story?
Yeah. Where do you want me to start, John?
Wherever you'd like to. Do you want to tell us why you started a business or?
I was in the Army for 10 years and I worked in combat arms and I got shot a couple times and all kinds of crazy stuff happened. And when I got out of the Army, I had gone to college prior to going in the military. And I worked for the city of Fort Wayne. I live in Indiana. And my boss suggested to me, he goes, you need to be your own boss. And I'm like, I do. I need to be my own boss. That way I can do things the way I want to do them. At the time, I didn't have a computer, but I had heard about FBO. So I started looking at that on my work computer.
Right.
And I decided to, get all my registrations and get a DUNS number and a cage code and all that. And then, basically I just left my job with the city of Fort Wayne and went out on my own. And I don't think it was the first job we did. I believe it was the second. And I mean, the people don't know this. I know Bobby knows my whole story. But I had been in the housing business. We flipped houses and we had a rental division of 40 some odd units. And I had a contracting license. So it made sense for me just to make that transition. I mean, working like, say, for instance, in a hospital setting, all it is a big ass house.
Right.
So I started bidding stuff. And I think the second contract I bid, I ended up winning a HVAC contract. And I started this business in 2002. And really what I had in mind was to try to take advantage of the fact that I was a service disabled veteran.
Right. And,
we've had our hurdles over the years. I have been to other people. I went to Austin, spent $10,000 to be down there for a week with them guys from GC Experts. I learned a lot from them. And when I wanted to expand outside of construction, that's when I started looking for somebody like you guys. And I think I talked to Bobby first, and I had talked to several companies, but I liked the fact that there was ongoing training because we've won some pretty good sized contracts. we've been at this, but for me, I've had to figure out a way to get beyond just the construction.
Right.
And that's just my personality. It's never going to be big enough for me. I always want to do better. And to be perfectly honest, I wanted to create some jobs in my community. We got people that help us do our construction jobs, but I wanted to get into some other things. And that's kind of why I signed up with you guys, because I wanted to find out more about different things. We've won apparel jobs. We've won all different kinds of things. Anything I feel like I'm big enough to pull off, I'll figure out a way to do it and go do it. It helps to have you guys have access to you. It helps a lot, because there are questions. Granted, I've been doing this a long time, but there are still questions I don't have the answer to them. And I send John Wayne an email, and boom, I get an answer. He'll help me find what I need. It's extremely helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah. But and I've learned some things too I remember early on, I would bid contracts, and for whatever reason in my mind, I was like, I never put myself down as an interested vendor. One of the things that, with regard to construction, that was a grave error, because when you start doing sizable jobs, you need everybody that you can. A 7-figure job, it may involve a dozen different disciplines, in the contracting industry.
Right.
And on the other stuff, just coming to the trainings, listening how other people, take advantage of the situation. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, just knowing what's available to you, what weapons are, at your disposal.
Right.
What I would put up with 10 years ago, I won't put up with it now. And all of the struggles have made us better. I don't know if I told you, John, I think it was 5 years ago, my bonding agent has his office raided by the FBI, and he ends up going to federal prison. And I'm in the middle of 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a catastrophe. I don't know if any of you have ever been paralyzed by fear, but that's what it was like. And then you're like, well, I can't stop. This is how I pay my bills. So you start looking for other resources, and I came across you guys. It's been helpful to me. My story is really, really long, because I've been in business since 2002.
Right.
I'm not a serial business starter, but I look for conduit. The conduit from the housing business to federal contracting was a perfectly normal transition. And believing you can do it, that's what matters. I don't know much, but what I do know, I know a lot about it. And in the construction industry, I had to take some of those philosophies and apply it to some of the other things we're trying to do. It has taken some time, but ultimately we've gotten to the point where we understand how to, take advantage of things. I tell you, the most important thing that I've learned in the last, I would say, 6 months is I never called contracting officers unless I was complaining. I have, just from coming to the trainings, I'll call them jokers in a minute, and try to build a rapport with them.
Sure.
And surprisingly enough, there are a couple guys. There's a couple guys here in Indiana. When they don't know how to get it done, they call me.
Awesome.
And that is one of the ways we make a living. Being a problem solver for them. They don't know everything. Something that I realized most recently is contracting officers are the guys that do the paperwork. They have a technical representative.
Yes.
And when you demonstrate to them on the phone that you know what you're doing, and then you go out and you complete the job in a timely fashion, and how they score you and stuff like that. That's what creates the follow-on opportunities. When I run into issues, I just tell them we're on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
We want this bid. I'm not here to be adversarial. I'm here to do a job.
Right.
And it works, being candid with them. They're people too.
Yeah, just be honest with them. I tell people all the time, don't ever lie to them, just be honest with them. But you're doing everything right. You're submitting bids, you're reaching out. It's beautiful. It's a great story. I love it.
I appreciate John being on the call. We did get Angelique from YouTube into the go-to meeting, and she is actually going to ask me a couple questions and tell her story. She's the one who won the $5 million contract for 5 years.
Okay.
So Angelique, can you unmute your recorder and we'll get you talking now.
John, thank you so much for getting with us today and sharing your story. It's awesome. And you got me. I'm here any day you want to join, anything else you want to bid on, I'm here for you.
John, one of the things and this will be my final question. I know you have other people to go on to. I wish, it took me a while to learn APP, but some of the employees are better at it than me. But I wish that there was some type of a phone book of people, and some of the people that are on these trainings, I wish that there was a way that we could get to them so that we could potentially collaborate. Because a lot of times people that I contact and end up ultimately using as a subcontractor, especially since we kind of split off into other things aside for construction. Mm-hmm. I'd like to have a way, a conduit to other people so that I could get some things done. Okay. And I wish that was incorporated in APP. And I just wish there was another way to figure out how to collaborate with people. Like somebody mentioned earlier, safety glasses. A lot of times people will just completely disregard certain solicitations because, well, I'm not a service disabled veteran, but I'm like, well, hey, you can call me up. You can call me up. We can collaborate on this. You can make some money. I can make some money. And the government gets what they need.
Sure.
So that's all I had, man. But
okay. Hey,
the overall situation has been good for me and good for my company.
Thank you. And your wish is my command. You ask for it, I'll make it happen. Recently, when people get on the training, I tell them, put your email in the chat window, and anybody who wants to network, collaborate, just put your email in the chat window, and it's working out. We got one client who won a contract, and he's working with one of our vendors, and they're putting it together and going half on it, So absolutely. Thank you for that suggestion. And like I said, your wish, my command. Consider it done, brother.
Cool. And now, Angelique, go ahead. You're up.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome, John.
We've got Angelique with what company?
Coding Technologies.
Coding Technologies.
Hello, I'm here.
There you are. Yay. Welcome.
Hello. So we just recently were awarded, I believe, the 21st of September. This was an extremely surprising thing to us. We didn't really expect for this to happen. We were very optimistic, but I remember I joined one of your meetings a while back, and you told me to go for something smaller. Well, my head's Mr. John Wayne. I said, go big or go home.
There it is. I love it.
So we went for this contract, and basically we had our first meeting last Thursday. And they told us that basically we were awarded the contract because we had the best price. That's pretty much, they were very straight to it. We had the best price, and everything was, we dotted our I's and we crossed our T's. So basically, the following day, we had received an email saying that we were under a size protest. Now, let me give you a little bit of background. So the previous company, there was two. There was a larger company, and then another company subcontracted under them. Well, they've been kind of fooling us a little bit. the company that subcontracted under the larger company, so to speak, they contacted my CEO, and basically they wanted to subcontract under us. Well, we've been trying to get in there and get set up on our site. They still haven't moved their equipment, so they've been dragging their feet since the beginning. So we've been trying to keep in contact with them, finding out like, when can you move everything? This guy is saying his CEO is overseas and he can't get in touch with her, and he has no contact with the CEO or his president. And I'm sitting here like, really? Because he asked us if they could subcontract under us. Now, sir, where did you get the clearance for this, or permission to do this, to ask us if you could subcontract under us, and you can't even get your guys to come and move your equipment? So from the beginning, they've been planning this. They wanted to try to get us out. That's why they're not moving their equipment.
Right.
So we've been going back and forth with this company, and we basically talked to them on Thursday night and let them know, like, sorry, we're not interested in you subcontracting under us. Please move your equipment as soon as possible so that we can move our equipment onto the site. And following day, we have a size protest. They think that we're a bigger company than we really are. So my question to you, Mr. John Wayne, is there anything I should be worried or concerned about? Because can we be too small a business?
No, you can't be too small. The small business set aside standards based on each NAICS code. Each NAICS code has its own size standard, and it's based on volume of dollar volume or number of employees. And it's a 3-year average too. Most of them are around 7 million or under is considered a small business. Some of them in construction are up to 35.5 million and under, considered a small business. Mm-hmm. But as long as you're in that category, in that specific NAICS code, you're fine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because
they're just trying to do anything they can to make it look like you're doing a bad job.
Yeah. Well, they're actually making themselves look bad because they've been dragging their feet and they don't want to move their equipment, and they're basically putting a damper, in us getting up and ready so we can start production.
Right. And you're communicating this to the purchasing officer.
Yes, I'm talking with my COR about it, and one of the other guys, the contract specialist. We've been in communication since the beginning. They've been kind of telling me like, I shouldn't worry, but there's anything can happen. But he did reassure me if for some reason they decided to take the contract from us, that the company that's protesting is definitely not going to get it. But I'm completely optimistic that it's going to be fine. I just kind of wanted your assurance, like reassurance, as far as like, are we too small a company? Could they say we don't have enough personnel, or, that's my question.
No, because the small business set aside, it's 23% of the federal budget. They're having a hard time meeting that criteria. So whenever a purchasing agent can hire a small business, especially on a contract of this scale, you said it was $5 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're meeting their small business set aside requirement, or meeting a portion of it. They don't want to cancel this and take it from you and have to replace that,
Yeah. So we were told about the SBA, it could take up to 15 days. Now, is that 15 business days, or because I haven't heard anything from these people?
Yeah, it's usually business days. But as long as you're communicating with your COR and your purchasing agent and their representatives, and they know that these guys are dragging their feet and it's not your fault, you're good. They're making themselves look bad.
Yeah, because I'm worried. With this, at this point, we'd have to revise our contract, right? Once everything is settled.
You could. You're going to have a chance to renegotiate because this isn't your fault, mm-hmm. and this could change things. But anytime you renegotiate, you're also risking losing the contract.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't want to step on any toes, but pretty much we're supposed to be up and running for production on the 29th of this month. So, right. We still have quite a bit of stuff that we need to do. I have to pull permits and that kind of stuff. But, basically my COR told me to halt as far as pulling permits that I need. So I'm kind of, when he told me that, I was kind of a little bit scared at that point. I'm like, wait, So obviously this is a very big contract, very big opportunity for my company. So I just wanted to just make sure with you, like as far as, should I be concerned or anything like that? I've been stressing out all the time.
Just document it and make sure you communicate with your purchasing agent. You're good.
Okay, perfect. I think that's pretty much the only question that I have here.
Awesome.
So thank you so much, Mr. John Wayne. I appreciate you answering my question. I feel a little bit easier.
Not a problem. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for sharing your story. We have anybody else join? Nope. Okay, that'll be it, guys. We're going to go ahead and run the APP video for you. Anyone who's new, this is an introductory video to the system and the training and APP and all that. So you guys enjoy. This was a great meeting, great questions. Thanks to all of our contract winners who joined us today and told us their story. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. And if you're new or you're watching this on YouTube, reach out to me. If you want to know more, just reach out to me. I'll get you a case manager, get you an account rep signed. We'll help you win contracts. I promise you. There's 3 parts to this puzzle: registration, education, and motivation. And we're going to do that for you. We're going to get you registered. I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to motivate you to win these contracts. And you're going to win one. It's just a matter of time. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Like Patrick said, he had to submit a bunch of them before he won one. But some of these guys got on today, won their very first contract within the first 30 days. So stick with me. Hold the line. I will not give up on you until you give up on me. So don't give up on me. All right. Thanks, guys. Hi, I'm John Wayne. If you want to take your business to the next level, get coached by my team. We will schedule one-on-one calls to make sure that you set the bar high and achieve even higher. Get dialed in for success today. Go to uscontractorregistration.com/coaching for my 5 must-dos to succeed as a federal contractor. All right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the new vendor orientation video. I'm John Wayne, and today we are going to cover how to use the Advanced Procurement Portal in this video. Before we get there, I just want to talk briefly to you about how USFCR is committed to making you a better contractor. Any questions you have throughout, please feel free to ask. First, we're going to cover training and coaching, what it is and how does it work. USFCR training and coaching is very simple. We give you the knowledge, the skills, the templates, the education, the encouragement to utilize and to use the system correctly. You can work hard, or you can work smart, or you can do both. So we have several types of training. We have hourly training. We have group training daily, 1 and 4 p.m. Eastern time, where you can access the GoToMeeting and ask questions. You'll actually see my screen, and we work on bids, proposals, solicitations, or questions. Some people join the group training and they just listen and take notes. Some people come into the group training with a bid or proposal, solicitation to work on, and we work on it live together. And some people just come in and have questions. The group training is every day at 1 and 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's live and it's online through GoToMeeting. And then we also have personal training and coaching, which is one-on-one, also through GoToMeeting, where I'm going to work directly with you and your team and teach you the ins and outs of federal contracting. But more importantly, with the personal training, we can also get into details of maybe simple mistakes that you're making that are costing you contracts now, that are costing you clients now, ways to work better, smarter, faster. If your closing rate is about 10%, we need to get it to 30 or 40. If you invest the time to write 10 bids to win 1, we need to fix that. You should be writing 10 bids to win 3 or 4. Again, make sure if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. The other services we provide here at USFCR, they're really a necessity. Okay, your SAM registration is a basic registration. It's how you're paid by the government. You have to be registered in SAM and have a cage code in order to be able to bid on contracts, to be awarded and paid. And you don't want to invest the time in submitting bids and find out later after you didn't win any that was because you had basic mistakes in your SAM registration. It's just like your taxes, guys. You could do them if you really wanted to, but why learn the new rules and laws every year to do your own taxes to try and save a buck when you're risking owing the government more money or getting less money back, or making a mistake and the government assumes that you made the mistake on purpose, like you're trying to cheat the system, and you could be fined or even do jail time. Currently, there's very little competition in the system. You've got a better chance of winning contracts now than from the research that I've done in the history of our government. There's less competition today than ever. If you did your own SAM certification, you got your cage code and it says you're active, that still doesn't guarantee that you are compliant. Now, I can tell you this, out of the 160,000 small businesses that are active in the federal system, technically speaking, I know half of them are compliant because we've completed 80,000 plus SAM registrations. And one of the beautiful things about becoming a client now and having us register your SAM, if you sign up with us as a client for any of our services, you get basic access to the APP at no charge. Now, your SAM registration is kind of like having a driver's license. It gives you the legal right to drive, but you still need a car, you still need gas, insurance, you need to maintain the car, you gotta have a good mechanic. There's a lot of tools involved in winning government contracts outside of just the basic SAM registration. Or let's say you're a fisherman and you have a fisherman's license. Same thing, you still need a tackle box, a boat, you need some coordinates, gas, bait, the right equipment. This is what we provide. 8A, Hub Zone, GSA, DAPA, Wide Area Workflow, woman-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned. If it's a federal set-aside, we can do it for you and do it right the first time, every time. Quick reminder again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. That's what we're here for, is education and learning, teaching you the ropes, giving you the encouragement and the skills you need to be successful. Now, in addition to winning contracts and expanding your current client base, we also teach you how to avoid losing contracts, which is just as important. We also teach you how to avoid being scammed. In any industry, there's scams. During Christmas, there's Christmas scams. During IRS season, there's tax scams. So if you're in business, there's people out there trying to take your legitimate money from you. We're going to teach you how to detect these scams and, more importantly, how to avoid them to begin with. There's a lot of companies that are trying to do what we do. They're trying to ride our coattails. They're trying to mirror what we do. Most of them only do a portion of what we do. There's thousands of companies that sell GSAs. And unfortunately, these scumbags will sell it to you if you need it or not. We don't do that. Here at USFCR, we're the only company that I know of that exists that allows you to pay your GSA over 12 months. No one else does this. And this is part of our agreement with our state's attorney, Pam Bondi, though our intent is to help you, not to hurt you. Like these people that, they're not even our competition. They can't compete, but they're trying to. And they will sell you products and services you don't need, or in some cases, sell you something that you're not even going to be able to use because they're not a legitimate company. They're an offshore scam. We're going to teach you how to detect those quickly so you don't waste time, and how to prevent from getting those emails and those phone calls in the future. Look, guys, the U.S. federal government is the largest purchaser of products and services on the planet, and as far as we know, in our solar system. There's no one that spends more money than the U.S. federal government. The U.S. federal government spends more money than most other governments combined. Technically, the U.S. federal government is recession-proof. In many cases, like when the housing market fell apart in 2008 and a lot of people quit spending, in many cases during recessions or during problem times, our federal government spends more money to fix those problems. So if you're not on that wagon, you're not getting a piece of that. We don't want to teach you how to get a piece of the pie. We're going to teach you how to make your own pie. We're a powerhouse, and you can be a part of that powerhouse. You can be a wheel that makes that machine work. If you know what you're doing and how to do it properly and invest your time wisely, you will be successful. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. W-I-N. All right, next up, guys, I want to show you our new system called APP, stands for Advanced Procurement Portal. We designed APP for one primary reason, and that's to make it as easy as possible for you to do business. APP pulls data from FBO, from Subnet, from Federal Procurement Data System, from USA Spending, and from other systems that we know that exist that most people don't even know exist, and it pulls this data into one easy-to-use system. The big difference between getting opportunities out of APP and FBO is actually pretty simple. FBO runs once a day. When you set up your searches in FBO automatically, those searches run once a day, and they run at 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning when that system's the slowest. The problem with that is this. We all know the early bird gets the worm. And if the government posts an opportunity this morning and you don't get it until tomorrow morning, you're already a day late and $1 short. Now, that's not going to make a big difference in some cases. It will in a few instances, especially if you got the opportunity now and you called the supplier and no one else calls the supplier today, he's going to give you a good quote. If everybody else gets that opportunity tomorrow morning and 3 or 4 people call that supplier at one time asking for a quote, he's going to give them a higher quote because of supply and demand. He knows he can get more money. So in that case, yes, the early bird does get the worm. But more importantly, if a purchasing agent only needs 3 offers on a bid, and let's say they receive 2 or 3 offers by lunch, they could archive that opportunity. They don't want to get 6 offers. If they only need 3, that's doubling their work. So if they get 3 offers by lunch and they archive that opportunity and you get that opportunity the next morning, you're not going to get it the next morning because it's already been archived. When your search runs the next day, it's not even going to find that opportunity. That opportunity no longer exists. And I can tell you this from countless, hundreds, if not thousands of times, that clients have called up and said, I never got this. Why is that? And that's because they were running their searches in FBO that were a day late and $1 short. All right, guys, I want you to make a commitment to learning, to using the Learning Center, to study all the pieces from A to Z. It tracks your completion as you go. As you complete a section, you can check the box on the bottom, completed, and it'll track how much of the Learning Center you've actually utilized. Utilize it. It's a wonderful tool. It will help you be more successful. We have our master bid template section where we give you a master bid template that you can use to plug and play. Again, we want to make it as easy on you as possible to be successful. So we're going to give you all the tools, but the tools are going to be sharp. They're going to be calibrated, calculated. They're going to be ready to use. All you have to do is plug and play. Make the commitment to read all the material and complete the training center first. Get your foundation built to be successful. Then you're going to want to set up your searches. Simply clicking on your search filters, you can search by solicitation number, keyword, agent email, an office or agency name, a set aside, by a NAICS code, city, state, classification, opportunity type. You can set up a search by keyword, for example, tree trimming. They're listed by date, so you know the most recently posted. Now, this search, for example, we set up a basic search by keyword. You can also go back down and you can refine your search. So we're going to do tree trimming again. It remembered the keyword, so we don't have to type it all the way out. But now we're going to add opportunity type. So we're only looking for a combined synopsis solicitation, which means active opportunity. We're not looking for awards. We're not looking for pre-solicitations, sources sought, RFIs. We're just looking for active opportunities. So you know the most recently posted is the one that's up top. You can save that search to run automatically. And you can name the search, nickname it, so you know what search it is. We know that that's an active search for tree trimming. And that's the 11 out of 100 searches we've set up so far. And 9 out of 10 of those searches we're watching. The best way to set up a saved search is to create the search and then see how it works. Some searches you're going to need to be more specific. Maybe they're bringing you a few too many opportunities that are not a perfect fit. But you also don't want to set your searches up to be so specific that you're missing out on opportunities. So we can save it and tell it to watch automatically. You'll never have to go out and manually look for opportunities. When you manually look for something and it's not there, you're wasting your time. Set up your searches to run automatically. Watch them so you're notified automatically. So you can click the little eye icon or the little magnifying glass icon. The magnifying glass icon is for you to search now. And the eyeball icon is for you to set up an automatic watch that'll show up in your federal feed automatically. When you're watching a search that meets that search engine criteria, that opportunity will automatically show up in your federal feed, so it's easy to track. You can set your searches to notify you. So you can set your alerts up to run when you're actively doing business or when you're awake. And save it. And it'll go to the email that you have in the settings account. So I want to take another moment, ask if anyone has any questions. Please feel free to ask. So preparing your master bid template. This is your plug and play document that you can utilize for probably 90% of the opportunities you're going to be submitting. Once you download it, you're going to want to edit it and make it into your format. Put your logo, add your information, your contact info. It's going to save you time and energy and manpower, and it's something that once you fill it out, you can use it repeatedly. So it allows you to submit more bids. The more efficient you get at this, the more bids you can submit, the quicker you can submit them, the more concise they are, the more accurate. As you submit bids and you make mistakes or you don't win it and you request a debriefing and you find out why, you're not going to continue to do that. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. We want to be results oriented. We want to learn every time we submit a bid so we do it better next time. So you find an opportunity in APP that you're interested in bidding on. You're going to see that APP organizes the data into a very easy to use window to give you all the details of the opportunity. You want to be able to get through these quickly and determine whether or not you want to bid on them. You don't want to waste a lot of time finding opportunities to bid on or determining if you want to bid on them. You want to invest your time bidding. So you need to remember this. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, okay? This is a long-term retirement plan. If you work this system right and work it hard for the next couple of years, you could literally set this up so that you could sell the business in 10 years and retire well. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a long-term retirement plan. Your main goal in the beginning is to submit some bids. Submit a couple. Don't expect to win them, okay? And don't expect to make huge profits on them. You're better off on the first couple of giving the government a really good price. And more importantly, just get in there and do it. Like Nike says, just do it. You need to submit a few to get comfortable, to understand how you need to tweak your business and put your business in a better position for the government to hire you. Once you've completed a couple of these and you didn't win them, you're going to want to request a debriefing and find out why. You don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. You want to be results oriented. You want to learn from each bid that you submit and not make those same mistakes in the future. And unlike the private, commercial, industrial, and a lot of state contracts, you legally have the right to request a debriefing and find out why they didn't hire you. When you request a debriefing, also ask the purchasing agent, can you give me your opinion on what I could do better? Is there anything that I could do better or different in the future that would help me win more contracts? Because if you can ask a purchasing agent for their opinion and you get a purchasing agent who likes to talk, they're going to tell you what you can do to be more successful, and they're going to appreciate the fact that you're listening. And if you utilize those steps, the next time they see one of your bids or proposals, they're going to say, hey, look, I told this guy he should try this next time, and he actually did it. He actually listened to me. That's awesome. I should go ahead and award it to him since he listened to me. Although if I don't, then what else am I going to say that he did wrong? If you want to do a bid protest, sometimes there's a window that you have to make that bid protest or that debriefing. So the best bet on the first couple of solicitations, opportunities that you work on, get in my training, work with me. Let me show you how to determine the difference between those, how to see if there's a debriefing window or not. And let me show you how to easily navigate these. Because if I can teach you how to get through these quickly, you can submit more. If you can submit more, you're going to win more. Anybody have any questions? If you have APP Plus, you're also going to have access to our agent finder. You'll be able to make a custom list of agents based on their NAICS code, agency, coworkers, etc. And you can utilize the CRM part of APP to keep track of these agents and vendors. You can find a specific purchasing agent by keyword, office, agency, set aside, NAICS code, etc. You can be very specific on your searches or very general. So for example, you could look up that specific agency and the specific office of that agency and that NAICS code. You can apply the filter with the name, email, phone number, all the contact information you know, including the view more option to get even additional information on that purchasing agent. You can see all the NAICS codes that they've worked. You can see their most recently posted opportunities. You can mark them that you've watched them or you are currently watching them. You can mark them that you've contacted them, and you can mark them that they're a favorite agent. If you had a great conversation with them, you can put notes on the conversation that you had. If they mention something about, I can't talk today, I have to take my dog Roscoe to the vet, but I'll be back Monday. When you call them on Monday, look at your notes and see that he took Roscoe to the vet and ask him, hey, how's Roscoe doing? Every little bit of data like that helps you build rapport and relationships, and people buy from people they like. You can also use the CRM to take notes on not just purchasing agents, but also vendors. So as you reach out to primes and introduce yourself, hit them with your elevator pitch, ask them what you can do to earn their business. You can keep track of who you've called and follow-ups and what notes you've made. And if you had a great conversation, you can mark it as a favorite vendor or a favorite agent. And again, keep track of the notes that were discussed so that when you follow up next time, you know where to reference back to. But remember this, guys, everything's a learning experience. You're creating to learn to create better. All right, guys, if anybody has any questions, we're going to take a few minutes to answer those now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, John Wayne here, like the movie star, no relation. In case you just joined us, we did some interviews earlier with some of our clients that have won some contracts, and it actually went much better than I expected. It was really awesome. Hearing the different perspectives, and they told a little story about themselves and where they came from, what they were trying to accomplish, etc., and their path as far as getting their first contract. We did have a question earlier about NSNs. Somebody brought up a question about how to get an NSN assigned to their product. NSN stands for National Stock Number or NATO Stock Number. NSN numbers are assigned to products and services the government typically buys a lot of. Once you have an NSN assigned, it gives the government ability to buy your product or service using the NSN. An NSN number is typically, I think they're 9 digits or even longer. 12 digits, and they're like your driver's license number. I don't know if all you guys know this, but your driver's license number actually tells a story. It's not just a random group of numbers. Like if you pull your driver's license number out right now and you look at it, the third set of numbers is the year you were born. So the third set of numbers on my driver's license is 70. I was born in 1970. And the other groups of numbers mean certain things, like what county you were born in or what city you were born in. So your driver's license number actually tells a story about you. NSNs are the same. They break down and they actually tell a story about the product or service that they're pertaining to. So yeah, that's what an NSN number is. You can Google it, NSN number, and find NSN numbers, suppliers online that carry those NSNs. But typically those guys are big, they do a lot of business, and they don't want people brokering, so they're not going to give you a price unless you lie to them and tell them you need 5 million of them. I always tell you, don't ever lie to the government, ever. Don't do it. But suppliers, yeah, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Don't be a dog, be a lion. Lie to them. If you need a quote, tell them you need 5 million of them just to get a quote. Play on their greed, Good question.
Let me see.
Any other questions?
Yeah, if you have a question now, you gotta type it in the chat.
If you have a question, type it in the chat. I'm going to show you guys something real quick. For those of you who say, is John Wayne your real name? I'm going to cover up part of my license number and my address so you can't see it, but right there, baby. John Wayne.
Hold on. I gotta turn the. There we go.
Can you see that? John Wayne. That's my real name. I'll tell you one thing, pretty lady. It's good times.
And it doesn't look like we have any more questions in the chat. We can give it a couple more minutes, but
We'll give it a couple more minutes. We don't have any other questions in the chat. All right, guys, I just have one more point I want to make. You've heard this saying, 2 heads are better than 1. Having someone like me, having our team here to be able to get you registered properly and educate you and, of course, and motivate you, it's important. But there's another step, another thing we do here that a lot of people overlook. I'll preview your documents before you submit them. I'll look for mistakes in your bids and your proposals before you submit them. And if I can catch a mistake before you submit it, and you win the contract or you don't lose the contract because of that mistake, I mean, that's critical. We had a client, my first year here, 2009. We had a client, and we didn't do proposal writing back then. So we had a client that needed a proposal writer. And I said, well, there's one guy in FBO. He posts his name on every solicitation in FBO. I don't know how he does it. He's in the interested vendors list, you know. I'm not going to mention his name, but you can go there and search it and find him. And I should mention his name, but I'm not going to do that. Whatever. No, I'm not going to do it. Should I do it?
probably not, because it's giving him exactly what he wants.
More PR, even though it's bad PR. PR is PR. All right, I'm not going to mention his name, but if you go to FBO, go to the interested vendors list, he's at the top of every one because he says his name is Aaron, which interested vendors list in FBO goes alphabetically. His name's not Aaron, Marvin. Not going to say his name. Long story short, they hired this guy. We're just going to call him Marvin the Martian. You were making me very, very angry. They hired this guy to write their proposal. This is for construction of a nuclear power plant. This was a huge contract. I'm talking in the billions. And they spent, the owner of the company said he spent at least $100,000 putting this bid together. They had to do site visits. They had to run blueprints. They had to spend several days there doing site visits, hotels, travel, rental cars, Ubers, whatever. And he said he probably had close to $100,000 invested in this proposal. And we submitted the bid. It was submitted at the last minute because the proposal writer didn't have it done on time for them to send it to me to let me review it. Had they sent it to me and let me review it before they submitted it, I know I would have caught this because this was the dumbest mistake ever. They didn't win the contract. They did a debriefing. Purchasing agent simply replied with an email that said, "You made the most amateur beginner mistake of all time." It says that you were our first choice. We would have hired you. We wanted to hire you. Your plan, your execution, everything was really good. But you forgot to include the bid bond. True story. They lost a multi-billion-dollar contract because they forgot to include the bid. They didn't forget to include it. They bought it, paid for it, gave it to Marvin. He just didn't attach it to the proposal when he submitted it to him, and he didn't give him enough time to give it to me to review it to see if there was anything missing or any mistakes that I might have caught. I know I would have caught it because it's so basic, so stupid not to include the bid bond when it's a requirement, and they lost the contract because of it. So 2 heads are better than 1. Thinking about what you're doing on your own, running it by your employees is one thing, but having someone who's, like Dan said in what was that, last week we recorded talking about, you're driving the car. You see what's in your mirror, you see out the window, you see in your side mirrors, you got control of the radio, you can put the windows up and down, but you can't really see what's going on. You're in the car, you're driving. But if you have someone on the side of the road watching you drive, they see way more than you do. They have a better view of the overall picture. That's what I do. I give you a better view of the overall picture. I'm your extra eyes. I'm the second head. 2 heads are better than 1. Right here. I'm watching you. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. As always, make sure you check with me first. If it sounds too good to be true, it may be. If it looks like a scam, it's a possibility it is. But if you check with me first, you'll never go wrong. I'm not going to let you get scammed. I'm not going to let you get taken. I'm going to teach you how to detect and avoid situations like that. But you got to check with me first so I can teach you that route. Signing off, guys. Thanks. Bye. Hi, I'm John Wayne. If you want to take your business to the next level, get coached by my team. We will schedule one-on-one calls to make sure that you set the bar high and achieve even higher. Get dialed in for success today. Go to uscontractorregistration.com/coaching for my 5 must-dos to succeed as a federal contractor. Every great person has a team of great people behind them, helping them succeed.